morning, 213 students. I hope you are enjoying your day off and that you are staying very, 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 very warm. Today we are going to go over lesson 13 of math because our learning is so important. We don't have time to waste even if we have a day off school from the cold. So today our objective is we're going to be able to find the area of composite shapes. And before we start, I want to talk a little bit about rectangles. So, as you know, rectangles are awesome, and they're awesome for three reasons. One, you can multiply the side lengths to find the area, and that's what we've been working on for the past couple weeks. Two, opposite side lengths are equal. And three, and probably the most important, they're the shape of chocolate bars. So obviously rectangles are super important in our life. That's not a rectangle anymore because you took a bite of it. But we're going to use these facts to help us study more about rectangles. Take a look at this shape. This is not a rectangle. However, we can still find the area of it. We can find the area of a shape like this. It's called a composite shape. It's made up of other smaller shapes. And we have two strategies that we can use to find the area of this shape. The first strategy is we find rectangles in this shape. So if I'm looking at this shape right here, I kind of see I have one rectangle here and I have one rectangle here. I'm going to separate them just slightly so you can see the difference between the two. You could also separate it. Some of you might have seen this rectangle and this rectangle, but I'm going to go with my original separation. Now that I have two rectangles, how would I find the area of this entire shape? Take a moment to think. If you're watching it with someone, tell them what you think. I could find the area of my first rectangle, I could find the area of my second rectangle, and I could add them together. So this rectangle is 2 by 4, and this rectangle is 2 by 2. 2 times 4 is 8 units squared. 2 times 2 is 4 units squared. 8 units plus 4 units is 12 units squared. So the area of my composite shape is 12 units squared. I like to call this first strategy the make little rectangles and add strategy. But there's another strategy we can use. Let's put our composite shape back together. Our next strategy is actually called make a big rectangle and subtract. And here's how this one works. We can actually imagine that instead of this being like an L shape, this is actually a rectangle. So I'm going to put some yellow blocks in here to turn it into a rectangle. Aha! Do you see our rectangle now? It has one side length of 4 units and another side length of 4 units. So if we find the area of this whole rectangle and then subtract the area of the yellow rectangle, what's going to be left is the area of our red composite shape. So let's go ahead and try that on our paper. I want you to go ahead and pause the video and see if you can follow those directions, and then start it again and see if you were right. All right, let's see how you did. So the area of the whole rectangle, 4 units times 4 units equals 4 times 4 is 16 units squared. The area of my little yellow rectangle, 2 units times 2 units equals 4 units squared. I can subtract the area of my big rectangle minus the area of my little rectangle, and I get 12 units squared. You'll notice we got the same answer using both strategies. That's the way to yo. I hope you just said check it. All right, so what we just talked about was the two ways to solve rectangles. So if you have a composite shape, so kind of those weird looking shapes, don't worry, remember, rectangles are awesome, mostly because they're the shape of chocolate, but also for other reasons. We label all our side lengths, so we figure out all our side lengths. We pick a strategy. We're either gonna make little rectangles and add, or make a big rectangle and subtract. and then we're gonna solve. Let's put you to the test. I'm going to put a composite shape on your screen right now. Let me make it actually look like a shape. Perfect. Go ahead, and I want you to pause the video and see if you can find the area of this composite shape using one of our strategies, either making little rectangles and adding, or making a big rectangle and subtract. So go ahead and pause the video. All right, let's see how you did. I'm gonna get a new piece of paper here so we can record our math. So if I was going to make little rectangles and add, well, let's see. I have this rectangle, and maybe I'll do that rectangle and this rectangle. So the area of rectangle 1, 2 times 5 is 10 units squared. This one is 4 times 2 is 8 units squared, so that would be 18 units so far. And then 2 times 3 is 6 units squared, so that's 24 units squared is my total area. If I was going to try it the other way, I could pretend and turn this into its own rectangle. Uh-oh, now I'm making a mess of my shape, but that's okay. Could make my own rectangle with the side lengths of 6 on top and 5 on the side. 6 times 5 is 30 units squared. And then I would subtract the area of this, 2, 4, 6. So I would end up getting 24 units squared, which is the same for both. Now we're not always, of course, going to have blocks that we're working with. Sometimes we're going to have area models. So let's look at one as an example. So here is my first area model. And it would probably help if you had a piece of paper to help you solve right now too. So let's use my strategies to figure this out. I have my composite shape here, and I'm trying to find the area of this part right here. So the first thing I need to do is label all the side lengths. Now remember, rectangles are awesome because opposite side lengths are equal. So I need to find all my unknown side lengths. If this is 6, let me start with my little one. If this is 4, what is this? Well, if opposite side lengths are equal, that is also 4 centimeters. If this is 2, what's this? You're right, 2 centimeters. Okay. If this is 6, then this whole length has to be 6 as well. If this part is 4, 6 minus 4 is 2. So this little part right here would be 2. And let's see, this part's 2 centimeters. We don't know what this part is yet. But if this whole side is 6, this whole side has to be 6. So if this part's 2 centimeters, then this part would be 4 centimeters. So we labeled all our side lengths, and now we need to pick a strategy. So the strategy I'm going to do for this one is to make little rectangles and add. So I'm going to go ahead, I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this rectangle and this rectangle. I'm going to call this my big rectangle, and I'm going to call this my little rectangle. So for my big rectangle, the top has a side length of 6 centimeters. So 6 centimeters times my side. Ooh, my side is not 6. This whole thing is 6. What is just this side? There it is, 4 centimeters, because I labeled all my side lengths first. 6 centimeters times 4 centimeters is 24 centimeters squared. And if I were to do my little rectangle next, let's see. This side is 2 centimeters. This side is 2 centimeters. 2 centimeters times 2 centimeters equals 4 centimeters squared. What do I do? Let's see, it was make little rectangles and add. So I made my little rectangles. Now I add. The area of this whole shape would be 24 centimeters squared plus 4 centimeters squared equals a wonderful 28 centimeters squared. Let's see if it works with our second strategy. So I already did the first part, label all the side lengths. And this time I'm gonna make a big rectangle and subtract. So remember, I'm trying to find the area of this section right here. So to make my big rectangle, I'm going to imagine I'm finding the area of this entire shape right here, this whole shape. So one side length is 6, the other side length is 6. So my big rectangle is 6 times 6 centimeters times 6 centimeters equals 36 centimeters squared. And now I need to find the area of this little rectangle here. So one side length is 4 centimeters and the other side length is 2 centimeters. 4 centimeters times 2 centimeters equals 8 centimeters squared. This is make a big rectangle and subtract. So what am I gonna do? Subtract. 36 centimeters squared minus 8 centimeters squared is 28 centimeters squared. And that's the same answer I got before. I just did a yo. Check it, exactly. Let's try another one. All right, so what I'm trying to find is the area of this whole outside shape right here. Now, whenever I have a cutout shape like this, I find that the best strategy is usually make a big rectangle and subtract. You could make little rectangles and add, but you're gonna have to make like a rectangle here, a rectangle here, a rectangle here. You're gonna have at least 4 rectangles that you're making. And if I'm making at least 4 rectangles, it's a lot more work than just making one big rectangle and subtracting the small rectangle. So I'm gonna go for my second strategy here, make a big rectangle and subtract. I want you to pause the video, try to make a big rectangle and subtract the small rectangle from it, and let's see how you did. Welcome back, let's give it a try. Big rectangle, 6 inches times 4 inches equals 24 inches squared. Little rectangle, there's one side length, there's the other side length. Make sure I label all my side lengths, that's what I should have done first. Okay, 3 inches times 2 inches equals 6 inches squared. Make a big rectangle and subtract. All right, 24 inches minus 6 inches. 24 inches squared minus 6 inches squared is 18 inches squared, or 18 square inches. So the area of my shaded in part is 18 square inches. Let's try one more together before you're off to do your problem set and your exit ticket. Let's look at this shape right here. It's a very interesting composite shape. Let's see. Do we have enough information to solve this problem? Let's figure it out. The first thing I have to do is label all my side lengths. Well, this one's labeled, this one's labeled, this one's labeled, this one's not labeled, and this one's not labeled. Do we have enough information to figure those out? Go ahead and pause the video and tell me or tell someone you're watching with. We do have enough information to figure it out. Here's how. We know that this whole side has to be 9 because this side's 9 and opposite side lengths are equal. Look, I even have a little piece of chocolate left over there, a little snack. Opposite side lengths are equal. So if 4 is already this section, when added to 4, has to equal 9. So we're trying to figure out 4 plus what equals 9. Now you're probably saying 5 feet. So this section, this length right here, is 5 feet. How can we figure out this section? Well, I know that this is 11 feet, which means I kind of turn this into a big rectangle. This whole section is going to be 11 feet. So I know 5 feet is one part, plus something is going to equal 11 feet. 6 And if this part is 6 feet, because it's a rectangle and rectangles are awesome and opposite side lengths are equal, this part is 6 feet. And if this part is 5 feet, then this part is 5 feet. I want you to pause the video and try and solve this using one of the strategies. Welcome back. Let's see how you did. So I think, I don't know, I'm kind of deciding which one to do. I'm gonna do make little rectangles and add. So I'm gonna add, that's where we're gonna make my rectangle. So this is 6 feet, this is 4 feet. 6 feet times 4 feet equals 24 feet squared. This is 5 feet, this side is 9 feet. 5 feet times 9 feet equals 45 feet squared. If I add them together, because I want to find the total area, 24 feet squared plus 45 feet squared equals 69 square feet. I could also do it the other way. I could make my big giant rectangle, let's see, 11 feet times 9 feet equals 99 square feet. And I'm gonna take my little rectangle, 6 feet times 5 feet. See, I labeled my side lengths, it makes it easy. 6 feet times 5 feet equals 30 feet squared. Now I subtract. 99 feet squared minus 30 feet squared equals 69 feet squared. I just did a yo. Check it, that's exactly right. I checked my work, I got the same answer both times. The area of this composite shape here is 69 feet. So now ask your parent for a copy of your exit ticket and a copy of your problem set. Practice doing those, and next week when we meet, we're gonna continue working on finding the area of composite shapes. Nice work. Keep working hard. Even though you get a snow day, that doesn't mean we stop our work.